We got a goodie today, man. We got a goodie. We got a goodie. How's everybody feeling? As you can see by the title, just because you're a good person doesn't mean you're going to manifest a good life. And this might rub a few people wrong. I know if I was the old me, if I was in the old consciousness, I'd be like, what? How? But if anything, my life is living proof of just because you're a nice person doesn't mean you're going to get the life that you want. You know what I mean? And first, to understand that, we got to understand what God is. You know what I mean? God is consciousness. God is infinite. God is all knowing. God is the all knowing mind. You know what I mean? God is like the radio tower, and we are the individual radio stations, or even the radios in the car. We just tune into frequencies to connect with the all knowing radio tower. But with that being said, we got to understand that God doesn't go by morals, the all knowing consciousness. We only know morals and we only know good and bad because we're in this 3D reality. You know what I mean? We're in this plane, and inside these vessels, our beliefs, our thinking are kind of limited. We use logic. God is illogical. So you can be all the good person you want consciously. You can constantly make the right effort. You can constantly give back to the homeless. You can constantly give food to the needy, clothes away. But the world is created by the subconscious mind. And that's how God is created through us, through consciousness, but the subconscious mind is what produces reality. Because the subconscious mind is all your beliefs, all your facts about yourself, and basically it's what you perceive and your expectations about what you've been through in life. And what hardens your subconscious mind is all your experience in your lifetime, all the things that you've been through, or all the things that you observe that you saw somebody else go through. And then on top of that, if you're not only seeing it, but there's an emotional charge to it, that hardens it, and that makes it a belief, which makes it keeps on replaying in your life. Now, the thing about God is an infinite God. Like I said, He's very creative. So you may get the same thing in many different ways, and I bet most of y'all probably experienced that. I know I have. I've experienced money being lost just by bills taking it out the random. I experienced money being lost by me literally going to an ATM and then like the money fall in my pocket and I lose it. Somebody else picks it up and I guess enjoyed it for their day. I experienced money just being lost just in many different ways. You know what I mean? It can be the simplest thing. It can be when you get a paycheck and you need something, the littlest thing. You might need a toothbrush, but you ain't need a toothbrush in a month or so. But then now you need a toothbrush as soon as you get paid, and then that contributes to that's around the same time other bills is due, et cetera, et cetera. But you're a good person, so you think, why is this? Why me? Why am I going through this? Because your subconscious mind. And I feel like I'm the perfect example of this because I'm not saying I'm perfect. You know, we all make mistakes because, like I said, we are in these human vessels. And especially when you don't know what you know, you just start doing things and you start realizing the things that you were doing weren't putting you in the direction you want to be heading in. So with me going about my life, I used to write on my vision board when I was younger. Make somebody's day, make somebody laugh, give back, etc., etc. And I truly, consciously, I believe that the more I give back, the more I'll receive in return, and the more I'll be blessed because I'm doing what other people are feeling not to do. But then, like I said, as time goes on, you see people who not putting in the effort you're doing. You see people who not contributing to society and humanity how you are, living their best life. And instead of you trying to figure out the solution, you start thinking like, oh, they ain't gonna have it for long, and they probably did something to get that. You know what I mean? Until time keeps going on, 5 years later, they still living their best life, and you're still in the same loops that got you in that place in the first place. You know, so consciously, like I said, you might believe that if you're a good person, then good things are going to happen to you and you're going to manifest your dream life. But the reality that you want is created through the subconscious. So you have to ask yourself, what is hardwired in your brain? What are the things that you think about during the day, but you don't realize you're thinking about because it's so subconscious? It's so second nature. You know what I mean? The experience has been so traumatic, or you're so used to certain things happening that you don't have to constantly think about it anymore. How many people like get up and start doing things without consciously thinking about what they're going to do. Some people just get up out their bed and start checking their phone. They're not thinking about checking their phone. It's subconscious. It's just something that it's a habit at this point. You know what I mean? It's embedded in them. And that's why you ain't getting the life you want. And that's why I wasn't getting the life that I want. That's why I wasn't seeing any progress from all the things I was learning, everything I was trying to instill into my life, because my subconscious programming. And just growing up, it wasn't my fault at first. It wasn't my fault at first, but over a certain period of time, it's going to become your fault. And think of it like, you know, the game Hot Potato. Imagine if somebody like has a hot potato and they swing you the potato, and you just catch that joint. You just holding on to that shit, and that joint just burning your hands like crazy. You just not letting it go. That's the similar to like how I experienced in my life. It's like when I first was born, it wasn't my fault. My beliefs, you know what I mean, my expectations on life, how I perceive life wasn't my fault. It's just from the environment I grew up in and the people I grew up around. You know what I mean? My parents, my grandparents, my family members, all their perspective, all their expectations, all their beliefs got passed on to me. So I took it and ran with it. But at a certain point in time, you got to understand that if nothing changed, nothing changes. And if you get older and you die not receiving your life or not receiving what's for you or what you have already, you can't blame nobody but yourself. Because we go through life so many times. There's so much stuff that we research. There's so much shit that we practice. There's so much shit that we instill in our daily routine that we don't need to. But you figuring out the problems to your life and why you think the way you do, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't. And just putting the blame on, oh, it's my parents' fault that I can't save money, or it's my parents' fault that I'm poor, or it's my parents' fault that this happened. No, now it's your fault because you're aware of the problem, but you don't want to fix it. So that's where it stems from. You know what I mean? Like you can, and that was me. I truly thought I believed that I can get the money I want, and I was very positive. Ask anybody, oh, I'm real optimistic. Even when something happened, phone died. But like I was saying, I was very optimistic. I thought that I thought and believed that I can really get what I want consciously, but subconsciously, when problems arose, you know what I mean, the way I react to the world, the way I interact with the world, showed differently. And like I said, God is connected to us through consciousness, but more importantly, the subconscious, because that's the automatic stuff that we do that's really second nature to where we let things materialize around us and let God work in our life. Now, the thing about God is, like I said, God is not moral, you know what I mean? And God doesn't live in a 3D plane that we are. So he doesn't see good or bad or good and evil, whatever the case may be. Everything is one underneath God. And what that's basically saying is the same effort you can do good, you can do bad. The same way you can attract good in life, you can attract quote unquote bad. But God sees it all as everything is happening for you. But he gives you more what you want. And I realized looking back at my life, I wanted more struggle. I wanted more ups and downs. I would get a good amount of money, down. Good amount of money, down. And then when I start looking at my thoughts before I led up to that, I'm like, what was I really thinking? If I had to really be honest with myself. Before the money was coming, oh yeah, I see it. I see it. As soon as something started hitting, the money going down, oh gosh, why me? Why me? And I was letting the 3D, the reality that's kind of the illusion, it's real, but it always changes. So it's not set in stone. You're set in stone. You create you create the reality outside of yourself. You materialize reality by who you are being. You know what I mean? Who you know that you are. So if I had to really be honest with myself, I was saying like I really didn't have the belief because the way I reacted with the world, you know? And God gives you more of what you are. You know what I mean? He doesn't care. You know what I mean? It doesn't care. He doesn't care however you want to see it. The universe, if you think that bad shit is going to happen to you, more bad is going to happen to you. If you think that good is going to happen to you, more good is going to happen to you. You know what I mean? Even in the Quran, it says Allah will not change a man's state of favor without changing his face first. You know what I mean? Allah will basically give you suffering, and if you try to look for somebody to protect you from the suffering, you can't find nobody higher than Allah. Same with the Bible. God says, for those who have, more will be given. For those who don't have, even what you don't have will be taken away. And I was the latter one. Even what I didn't have was taken away. I'm like, damn, why me? I'm a good person. Why is this happening to me? But that's why it was happening to me. I kept saying, why is this happening to me? I acknowledged and I knew and I expected bad things and struggle to be upon me because I was always in survival mode due to my environment. So, no, just because you're a good person doesn't mean you're going to have a great life. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be moral, because you can be a good person and get your dream life. But you have to make sure that your perception to the world before it materializes around you lines up and adds up to what you want. And all that means is you have to think, speak, act, and just perceive the world from the version you want to experience. And then from there, God gives you more of what you want.